So we've just arrived in Bangui. You can see some African peacekeeping troops there, and there are some more behind us. It's about 4 months since I was last here. A little bit more organised. You could still see a lot of displaced families living right close to the runway when you fly in. Tens of thousands of people who came here looking for some sort of safety when things really kicked off late last year. We've got our crew here. We've got the driver I know well and a local fixer, Desiree and Olivier, to help us out. So we're going to load up now and head into town. We've picked up fuel, water, other supplies, and we're now getting ready to head north out of Bangui. This is an area called K12. It was very tense the last time I was here. Muslim community, the last stronghold of Muslims in the capital, but they've now all fled north. It's pretty much a Christian city now here, which for better or worse means that it's pretty calm. We're heading north, as I say, towards a place called Bambari. Bambari is one of the last big towns where there's a mixed population, and we understand it's very tense there at the moment. Very tense on the way as well, and we're going to be crossing essentially front lines between the anti-Balaka, the Christian militias, and the ex-Seleka, the Muslim forces here. And we're going to have to be careful. There's a lot of looting on the road, a lot of just pure banditry, and we know that in the last couple of days, particularly as we get closer to Bambari, a lot of people have been killed, a lot of villages burned. So we're going to take it very slowly, very cautiously, and see how far we can get and see how they react to us as journalists. We know that in general aid organisations aren't being targeted directly except for a bit of looting, but we know the French, now that there are French troops on the ground, French nationals are not particularly welcome here, so it's going to be interesting. Got a flat tyre on the road here. We've just been through a checkpoint, an anti-Balaka checkpoint. They were pretty edgy. They didn't want us to film them at all. They say that the ex-Seleka, the enemy, had been through here a few days ago and had killed a number of people. We're hoping to be able to film some people up ahead though, once we've got this sorted. The place is completely abandoned. We've passed quite a few villages like this. Everyone, as soon as they get attacked or they hear that there's a possibility of an attack, they all move to the bigger centres like Bambari further up the road. So, well, there's one fire over there. So there are obviously some people around, but perhaps they've taken alarm when they heard us coming. This is the big hospital in Bambari, and it's in a real state. A lot of wounded coming in every day from villages outside town, all injured by, it seems, fighting between the anti-Balaka and the Seleka. We've just seen one family, in fact, who lost 2 members last week, and the granny had a bullet in the leg, mother as well, a young boy injured too. Really very distressing scenes. The doctor here saying that he feels very afraid. Armed groups keep coming in and putting pressure on him, threatening him. He said somebody was brought in last night, their throat had been cut, there was no blood to donate to this man to try and save him, so he died on the spot. And there is a sense in town that things are becoming more and more tense. We just heard about some Muslims who went on a march. They were protesting about what they see as bias shown by the French forces here, and there was some stones thrown, and we're going to have to avoid the Muslim area of town for now until things settle down. But really very tense situation and very, very grim inside this hospital with We're told 212 injured in the past month, and 146 of those died.
Bangui.
This is Bambari, a town at the centre of a new surge of violence in the Central African Republic. The people you can see here are Christians who fled en masse from the centre of Bambari. They're camped out here. Relations between Christians and Muslims have completely broken down. They've been here for several weeks now. Everyone's aware of the announcement about the ceasefire across the country, but no one has much faith in it, and indeed today we've heard more reports of ambushes in town and in the countryside nearby. We know at least 5 Muslim Seleka fighters were injured and 1 killed in those ambushes. The reason these communities have gathered here is because of the French soldiers. This is their base in Bambari. There are several hundred here. They do patrol the town regularly. The trouble is, though, they simply don't have the numbers to reach out into the countryside, and in the past day or so we've seen lots of burned villages there, lots of tensions, and the concern is that while there is talk of a ceasefire, there are some peacekeepers on the ground. Out in the countryside, the violence continues and civilians are paying a really very heavy price, as we've seen in the hospital here, where there are some 212 civilian casualties who've been brought in the past few weeks.
Yeah, 170 houses burned.
Peut couper? Olivier?
Olivier.
170. Do you know when this happened?
This happened about 4 weeks ago. A group of 200 armed men descended upon the village in the afternoon and started shooting. People just left their homes in a panic. Some were too late. And 4 people got burned in their homes. About 12 got killed in the end here.
C'est bon, visuel? Si tout le monde parle en même temps.
Attends, moi je parle.
Confiance, elles disent Sangaris va partout où il veut. Et ce qu'il faut que les soldats ici comprennent, c'est que Sangaris...
We've been on a long patrol with French troops and some African Union troops around town. We've just run into a spot of trouble. They've passed in front of a senior general's house, a general from the ex-Seleka, and the French knew that they wouldn't like it, but they're doing it anyway, just to show that they can go where they please and they won't be intimidated by these men with their guns. So a bit of a dispute has ensued. It seems like it's going to be settled. I asked the ex-Seleka men here about the ceasefire, which has just been signed abroad and which is supposed to be in force here now, and he said, actually, we welcome it. We don't want to partition the country between north and south, something a lot of Muslims here say they do want. That's the only solution. He said, no, we can come up with some sort of political deal to end the conflict.